Continuing with viewer questions today on the Rest Equip Pro channel, I'm looking down here and I see from Jeffrey Giron, he says, I like the explanation, best Vitamix video out there, please do more, about our intro to the Vitamix Quiet One. Well, we'd like to tell you we've got a whole series of Vitamix coming. Look for that in the future. We're going to dig in really deep. We've been working for Vitamix for 20 years now. We're going to bring you the very best. We really appreciate your comment. I'm Sean O, the Rest Equip Pro, and we're on the Rest Equip Pro channel today answering viewer questions from viewers like you. And today, Jawed Sabir writes, if not dicing onion with all the mentioned procedures, then what part needs to be replaced? Because instead of dicing, it gives watery onion. And what he's referring to is with a CL50 or any other machine that dices, if your onions aren't hard and dry, then they will weep more than normal. And what I'm referring to is, if you take an onion and you cut it, and if it's dry and nice and hard and fresh especially, there won't be much liquid weeping when you cut it. So just cut it in half. You take a look at that. Now what that phenomena is that most onions out there, by the time you've received them through commercial distribution, they probably have been refrigerated at some point or another. Now let me ask you, and this is what I've been telling people for over 20 years, I say, look, when you go to the grocery store, take a look at where the onions, tomatoes, and potatoes are in the produce department. They're out there in dry, ambient temperature on a table. They're not refrigerated. There's a reason for that, because refrigeration in cold breaks down the cell structure of the vegetable the longer it's stored under refrigeration. For onions, that's particularly important, because I've found that if you refrigerate an onion for 24 hours, it'll break down so much cell structure, it'll weep and drip and just turn to mush. Now, if you have cut onions and at the end they look watery, there is liquid in the bottom, they look opaque and they're not bright, solid white, they're somewhat translucent, they've probably been refrigerated. Tomatoes especially are like that also. You refrigerate a tomato and in 24 hours, 25% of the cell structure is broken, and what that means is the cell structure is what holds the liquid. All vegetables are usually 90% or more water, and if you break that cell structure, that's where the liquid releases. The juice that's in tomatoes, the water that's in onions is in there to begin with. When the flesh is firm and you cut it, it holds its shape and it holds the moisture within that cut piece of vegetable. You don't want to refrigerate your onions, tomatoes, and potatoes especially, and you want to cut them and you want to get them as fresh as possible. I hope that answers your question. It's one of the best ones out there. Next up on viewer questions at the Rest Equip Pro channel today is a question, and it comes to us from Harley Rider 642. I love that. And Harley Rider asks, what was the flour you used? And this is referring to the R30 pizza dough making video, where we make dough balls in a vertical cutter mixer in 45 seconds. Now, the dough used in that particular video was just General Mills all-purpose baker's flour for use in the demo, because any flour will work for the product. But to get the very, very best we found in the industry, and for many years in the pizza business, is Caputo from Italy. The Caputo flour from Italy. It's hard to source in the United States unless you have kind of an inside connection, but it is the industry artisan premium standard out there. And other than that, there are excellent products from all of the other vendors. King Arthur makes great flour. General Mills has a bunch of different artisan varieties. Depending on your style and what kind of dough you're looking for, almost any flour has been used in pizza dough. It's a personal preference, but also the type of pizza you're looking for, the type of dough, and the way you'd like it to condition. All right, I know that sounds a little complicated, but what I'm trying to say is almost anything will work, especially in the VCM for making dough. So Harley Rider 642, thanks for that question, a great one. Remember to like and subscribe to the Rest Equip Pro channel, because we try and bring you the very best. Because I'm Sean O, the Rest Equip Pro.